Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to yet another YouTube video on the internet. Like, hello? I feel like I'm spazzing out today. I'm so sorry. Anyways, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be fun because I'm just going to go over some specific book tropes and I'm going to give you guys recommendations based on those book tropes. I have a lot of books that I've read, so I feel like I am very qualified to do this. Maybe just a little bit more qualified than the average Joe. Without further ado, let's get right on into today's video. That happened in real life for me. Oh! I'd rather get electrocuted. Really good book, so I don't really mind the trope. The most found family trope book that I have ever read in my life. Oh my god. Okay, the first trope that we have is a fake relationship trope. Literally one of my top tier tropes, and I'm about to give you guys a top tier book for this one too. You guys know her, you guys love her, Emily Henry. I feel like obviously there's a bunch of books that can fall under this trope that I've read, but this is by far my most favorite book under this trope. The reason I picked Happy Place for this trope is just simply because our two main characters, Harriet and Wynne, were engaged at one point and then they called off the engagement. Now they have to like basically fake a relationship in front of their friends to not ruin the whole like friend vacay vibe. Which is insane because the way that the relationship ended was just like, you know, and have to sit here and pretend like, oh, we're still together, we're engaged, we're happy. I would die. I think I would actually just rather die. I just loved every character in this book so much. I loved the vibe of the town too because it's taking place in like this little town in Maine. It's just following like a bunch of friends going on this vacation that they take every single year. So I feel like this book, while yes, has a very, very heavy fake dating trope, like that's the forefront of this book. There's also another back end of this book about friendships that I really, really enjoyed, and I feel like you guys would enjoy that too. It's kind of just showing how friendships shift and change when you grow older and how that's okay and that's normal. Yeah, I love the whole book so much. And Harriet and Wynne, funniest couple ever. Loved their banter. Love them together also, by the way. Just a really good book all around. So, Happy Place by Emily Henry. Okay, the next trope we have is Marriage of Convenience. Now, I don't read a lot of Marriage of Convenience books. It's not normally my cup of tea, but I do have a few on the docket. And I think the one that I want to pick for this trope is called Serpent and Dove. I read this book forever ago, okay? So I'm gonna go off the top of my head of things that I remember. I believe that Serpent and Dove is just following a witch and a witch hunter, and they basically like get caught up in this thing where they have to be married. And then our female main character, who is this witch, is like, she's not allowed to say that she's a witch because she's literally living with a witch hunter and married to a witch hunter. I honestly didn't even start the second book or the third book. Like, I only read the first book in the series. I believe it's a trilogy. Serpent and Dove, really, really good book. I think I gave it like a 5 stars when I first read it. I honestly think that the Marriage of Convenience in this book is just so funny. Just the way that it all happened and the way that this marriage just even comes to be is literally the funniest thing ever. Like, so do think Serpent and Dove is going to be the one that I recommend for this. It makes sense in my head, and I don't think it needs to make sense anywhere else. The next trope we have is one that I unfortunately hate. Can you guys take a wild guess of what trope this is? I feel like I just rant about it so much. It is brother's best friend. Hey, I think the reason that I hate that trope is just simply because I have a brother who has friends. Does that make any sense to anybody else? I feel like the only people who actually enjoy this trope are people who don't have siblings, because let me just mention for a second how awkward that trope genuinely is. Like, if that happened in real life for me, oh, I'd rather get electrocuted. I would literally rather have radiation running through my body than ever have that trope happen to me. So, I honestly do have a few books where I feel like they bridge that gap. So the book I'm going to recommend for the brother's best friend trope is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Okay, this is actually a 5-star read for me. I love this entire series by Elsie Silver. Like, the whole Rose Hill Ranch series. Sorry, I will be talking about it in my grave. I love this series. I think this book is actually my favorite in the series, and it's the first one in the series. So this is obviously a brother's best friend trope, but I feel like the reason why I kind of give it its flowers anyway is just because it's not just brother's best friend. I mean, like, they all grew up together. So I don't really mind it. Granted, Rosie really never was friends with Ford, and actually, like, it was an enemies to lovers type of situation going on in this book on top of the brother's best friend trope. Even though Rosie did hate Ford growing up, didn't mind it because I was just like, this is kind of just the banter that's normal. Even though this book is a brother's best friend trope, and that's like my least favorite trope of all time, I did really love this book. I gave it a 5 stars. Everything about this book was literally perfect. It takes place in this little small town at this ranch called Rose Hill Ranch that like the family owns, and it's just the cutest vibes ever. And if you guys want a good book with some good funny banter, this is the book for you. And if you like a brother's best friend trope, this is also the book for you. Me personally, I don't. I'm gonna stay back here. But if you guys like the brother's best friend trope, this will be the book for you, okay? And honestly, even if you don't like that trope, I feel like this is a book that's the exception to that. The next trope is found family. Now, this is actually one of my favorite tropes of all time. Maybe it's because I didn't really grow up having really close friends that feel like family, but anytime there's like friends that feel like family in a book, I eat it up every time. The book I want to recommend for this trope is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I feel like this is like the most found family book that I've ever read in my life. The whole idea of this book is that you're following 6 different people who all have to come together to pull off this like big heist. And obviously that's just gonna have to make them a found family. They all have to work together. They have to become a team throughout this entire book. And I just feel like it's so interesting to follow these characters because they're all just very misunderstood. But by the end of the book, they all come together and they understand each other. The characters in this book are a convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. All of those people have to just come together and they form this crew, like Kaz's crew. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. One of my top tier fantasy reads for sure. Oh, and the found family, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Loved it so much. I feel like just the banter in this book was just so perfect too because it just felt like a family. They were going back and forth with each other, bantering, arguing, all that stuff, but I feel like they were doing it in a way that only someone who fully understands you and sees you for who you are can. It is so fun, so fast paced, and I feel like by the end of this book, you'll just be so attached to all these characters and their bond. Oh my god, it hurts my heart to just think about them. So, Six of Crows. The next trope we have in Don't Freak Out is a cheating trope. Okay? Oh my gosh, I hate a cheating trope, but I feel like it's only okay in thriller and mystery books, so I don't even read cheating tropes in romance books. That's just not my vibe, not my cup of tea. I know what I'm gonna feel like reading one of those books, so I don't even read a cheating trope in a romance book. I do have a very good recommendation for this, and that is a thriller book called The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I feel like Geneva Rose is one of my favorite like thriller mystery authors. There's not very many thriller and mystery books that I like, but any Geneva Rose book that I've read, I've liked. This is actually a book that I rated 5 stars, and it does have a very heavy cheating trope that's kind of the forefront of this whole book. That's why the whole story is happening in the first place. Basically, this book is a dual POV between this married couple, Sarah and Adam cheats on Sarah, and then the mistress dies. And Sarah happens to be a defense attorney, so she's like, hold on, like, yes, I'm dealing with all these emotions of my husband cheating, like, crazy emotions happening, but actually, I'm with my husband till the end of the line, so I'm gonna defend him in court. Very heavy cheating trope, okay? That's literally the whole reason why this plot is happening. And crazy ending, might I add, okay? Did not see that coming for one split second. I don't really like that many thriller and mystery books, but this is an exception, and I recommend this to literally anybody. I'm literally gonna have my mom read this book. Like, that's how much I enjoyed it. Next trope on this list is unreliable narrator. Now, I have not read a bunch of books with an unreliable narrator. That is one thing that I actually kind of avidly hate in a book. I think that's probably why I steer away from thriller and mystery books, is because a lot of those type of books have an unreliable narrator. I feel like I need to trust somebody, okay? I have trust issues majorly. We don't need to make those worse, okay? But I do have a very specific book for this trope, and that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I read this a while ago, so bear with me. I'm gonna go off the top of my head. I remember the narrator literally would say something, and then like a few lines down would be like, hold on, you weren't supposed to know that yet, and would be like, just pretend like you didn't know that. Or they would say something and then the next sentence would be like, oh, actually, found out that was a lie. That was just what I knew at the time. And I was like, what? I could not believe a singular word on the page. It was to the extent where like when a character would literally die, I would be like, they're not dead. Nah, they'll be back next chapter. Like, that's how much trust issues this book created while I was reading. But even though this book was literally insane and so difficult to follow, I very heavily enjoyed this. I think I gave this like a 3.5 stars, which is actually contrary to popular belief, a very high rating for me. And I guess the whole idea of this book and the reason why the narrator isn't very trustworthy is because the narrator is someone who is actually like in the story. Elliot, who's actually the narrator of this book, would kind of just like go back on their word or be like, actually, maybe I shouldn't say this yet. Like, after one of the characters dies, the narrator literally goes, oh, well, their death doesn't really matter. They were annoying anyway. I'm like, oh. Basically, the whole big picture of this book is it's following these 3 friends, I believe it is, who all live like in Hollywood. And they end up going to this one friend's like private island, and then a murder occurs on the island. It's kind of giving like Knives Out type of vibe, like that specific Knives Out movie where they all go to like the private island, a murder happens, they're all very like wealthy, people of high class, and then they're all kind of stranded on this island all trying to figure out who committed the murder. I definitely think that if you want an unreliable narrator, this is like the book for you. I feel like it's just really fun, honestly. Okay, the next trope is a second chance romance. Now, there are so many books that I could put under this trope just simply because that is the main trope that I read. I love second chance romances, but the one that I'm gonna pick actually might be one that you wouldn't even guess that I would pick, and that is 7 Days in Jude by Tia Williams. I think I honestly DNF'd this book when I first read it, which is very, very unfortunate, but I am currently rereading this book and I'm enjoying it a lot more this time. Definitely think that you guys should read this book. I'm currently rereading it and it is so, so, so good. I feel like the romance in this book is so special. Like, it's obviously a second chance romance, like I said before, but it's kind of like childhood friends slash childhood lovers to being lovers again. And just being able to watch the way that this couple like has shifted and molded, and like just them as separate characters, but also them as a togetherness. And I feel like it speaks on heavier topics just simply as like how relationships can change, and that's perfectly okay. I love the romance in this book, and I feel like this is a very, very great second chance romance because the way that they broke up the first time, or like just didn't work out the first time, it made sense. You know what I mean? Like it fully makes sense in my head why it didn't work the first time, and now it happening again and them trying again, I feel like it makes sense now and it's gonna work now. That's all you can ask for in a second chance romance, okay? Because half the time in second chance romances, it's like some lame miscommunication. Like, that's how I feel about this book. The next trope we have is actually a divorce trope, which sounds like, okay, what? The way that I'm gonna take this trope is that like this person divorces and then finds new love. Summer Romance is the only correct book to pick for this. Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. One of my favorite books of all time. Like, this is literally, it sits on the top of my shelf. It's on my favorite shelf. You would not expect the heavy-hitting quotes that this book gives you. Looking at this book cover, you just wouldn't expect what this book actually holds and how much it really will impact you. The quotes, the characters, the setting, everything was literally perfect and just to a T exactly what I wanted. The reason that it falls under the category of divorce is because our main girl, Allie, does end up getting a divorce like in the beginning of this book, and the whole book is just following her like grappling with this fact. She has kids, so it's like another added layer to this divorce, and she's obviously going through a lot emotionally and mentally, and then obviously she's also finding new love. Not like super romance heavy. I honestly feel like romance kind of took a little bit of a back seat in this book, but that's exactly what I wanted. I just feel like you wouldn't expect it from the cover of this book. So Summer Romance is what I'm going to pick for the divorce trope, and I would literally stop at nothing to recommend this to you guys, so I had to pick this for the divorce trope. The next trope we have is a slow burn, and please brace yourself for the book that I'm about to pick because this is insane. Insane is the only word for this book. A Little Life. Oh my god. This like video is already gonna take a turn because I'm literally gonna start sobbing just talking about this book. Crazy pick for slow burn, okay? But I feel like I can't not laugh at me picking this book for slow burn because like it is such a little blip in the book, but I honestly think that this book could fall under the category of a slow burn just simply because of Jude and Willem. It's a slow burn and I love them, and I'm not afraid to say that I love them, and they are literally my favorite people on planet Earth and they don't even exist. So that's awesome. Maybe I should get real friends. A Little Life is definitely one of those books that you have to brace yourself before going into. Like, you need to expect tears, you need to expect sorrow, you need to expect sadness, depression, all of the above. Don't go into this being like, oh, cutesy little slow burn. No. I'm literally gonna start crying just talking about it. So I really need you guys to not go into this being like, oh, cutesy little slow burn romance. Because it's not. But I do think that Jude and Willem are the epitome of slow burn, and they are my favorite slow burn characters. So I had to put A Little Life on here, but I need to stop talking about this before I cry, okay? For slow burn, A Little Life is the book I'm gonna have to recommend, but please take that with a grain of salt. It's not a cutesy little slow burn romance. It's just so much more than that. Okay, the final trope we have for today's video is opposites attract. I feel like there was only one book that came to mind when I thought of opposites attract. I feel like it's very obvious that I was gonna pick Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is literally one of my favorite books of all time. People either actively hate this book or actively love this book. I'm on the actively love side of the spectrum, okay? That's where I belong. That's where I'm currently residing. I love Normal People by Sally Rooney. I feel like the reason it falls under the opposites attract category and just trope in general is because our two characters literally could not be more opposite. We have Connell, who's like very, very popular in high school, and then we have Marianne, who's very quiet, unpopular nerd in high school. And basically the whole idea of this book is it's literally just a situationship. Yeah. So it's following Connell and Marianne. They're like total complete opposites, and then it's just following them through the trajectory of like 20 to 30 years of their lives. Like 20 to 30 years this situationship is happening. They also just could not be more different. Like Connell's dealing with anxiety. Marianne is very like, becomes very just opening up and being a social butterfly. It's crazy how different they are, and there is not one moment in time where they are like on the same wavelength. Like literally I want every single person in my life to read this book. I want them to read about Connell because then I feel like that would help them further understand me. Like I am Connell to a T, and it's very unfortunate. Okay everyone, with all that being said, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have not filmed a sit down video in so long, so I feel like this just healed a part of my soul. Like we're gonna start sitting down and chatting more frequently, okay? Love you guys so much. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all my socials, links to the description box down below. I'll see you guys super soon with another video. Getting back on my YouTube grind, okay? Because it's been difficult with the end of the year, obviously senior year, crazy, okay? Don't want to talk about it right now, but track season being over and senior year almost being over, I feel like I just have so much more time to focus on YouTube. So I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys super soon with new videos. Goodbye.